bus doesn't like being on time. That is okay. Righto. Let me just check our frame. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Maybe I could go that way just a tad. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's good. Here we go. Yeah, you know it, bro. It's bloody school bus. Never mind. We're here. Ah, you beauty, so I can have my coffee as well. Right. Good morning, team. Good afternoon, good evening. Depends on where you're living. We've just got I thought we'd do some a little bit quicker stuff today. Um, Now, obviously, because we do time here, can't do distance because we'll all be out of whack. A workout like this is really good because it's uh, close-ish to 500 meters plus or minus, and it's a really good opportunity to build up over that period and work on your form. Okay, work on the technique with what we're doing, so that when we get close to like the last couple, they're getting closer and closer to sort of a race pace. Okay, and there's two sides to the workout because obviously the more you do, the more fatigue you're adding to yourself. Um, but at the same time, you're working because you're doing that. You're working towards, say, what you would be feeling like if you were in the middle of like a 2K or a 1K, something like that, right? Um, and so that's really what we get up to when we get up to that last one, is finding it's close enough. This isn't like a full out one, right? Because as you know with me, really want to get us to understand what we're trying to do, and get the working of our stroke and of the technique. And so by doing that and focusing on it throughout the period, we're really trying to ingrain the process, right? The way that we're feeling we need to do the motion and create the stroke and create the forces and work on the efficiency and the patience. Okay, even though we get under stress at those times, so that we can get closer and closer to sort of figuring out, right? Because one of my main philosophies has always been a realistic expectation, okay, and knowing what you can achieve. Because the one problem that I see all the time with most, and I'll use rowers in terms of like the flat water people, kids, young adults, even some of the older and experienced people, is that they don't have a realistic expectation of what they're able to achieve. Okay. And so why we do stuff like this is that you can see your progression, right? You can see the progression and the speed, right? So when let's take number 6, for example, you can see what numbers you're hitting here, and you can see what numbers you're hitting here. And if you can maintain that for close to the 2 minutes, okay, up here you're going, well, actually, I was holding a 158 and then a 155 or whatever, right? So then you can be like, okay, and I felt efficient. Okay, I was working on maintaining that pace efficiently. Okay, and then when we get up to this last couple, right, and we're at high rates, you can see what numbers you can do and how efficient you can be and how fatigued you're going to be, because of the workup, because of the working that we're doing. And then you can be like, okay, I was holding, and I'll use round numbers here. I was holding 145 at the end of this for a minute. Okay. And it felt reasonably sustainable. So then you can be like, okay, that's great. That's sort of the numbers that we want to see. And that's what the numbers we could hold. Okay. Do you think you can hold it for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes? Okay. I know it's going to progressively get worse, but that's your realistic expectation. And that's really what we want to try and achieve, because at the end of the day, the only way to get, I feel, confidence is knowing your realistic expectation. Okay, if you don't know what your expectations are, or you just don't know what you can do, how the fuck do you know what you're going to be able to achieve? Okay. Whereas if you can see numbers and you've trained to certain levels, this is your ceiling, right? These are the benchmarks. This is what you're doing, right? And you're going, okay, that's, I know I can do that for this period or this time, okay, at this rating. And then you can work on that and you get an understanding. So if you said, okay, let's do 1,000 meter, I'm just going to test myself. You could be like, I know I could probably hold 145 for this 1,000 meters. Okay. And then you can do it. Okay. And it might fluctuate a little bit, it might start a bit fast and slow a little bit through the middle, but you know that you're close enough to be able to manage that. So at the end of it, you're like, shit, I could do 3 minutes there or whatever, right? Could be 2 minutes, but okay, round numbers. So that's really what a workout like today is about, is really focusing on it and building through these speeds and looking at how we can create the motion, right? Create the speed. But also on the flip side of it is just working how efficiently can I get it? Because as I've said many a times, the only thing slowing this rowing machine down is you. Okay. Because we get it to speed, and the machine wants to slow down. So the only thing that we're doing is we're slowing it down by either not doing it correctly or we're not fit enough. Okay. And that's as simple as it gets. So if we can work our fitness and we can get that technique and we can get that really nice balance between the two, boom. Okay. Now we've got an idea of what we can do over specific times. Bob's your own call. Okay. So it's reasonably simple. Okay. And hopefully, I don't know if you can see it. I'll have a look. Most people can see it on board, but we've got a mixture between just 1 minute changes, okay, and then there's a couple of 1 minute for the first rating, and then a 30-second, and then another 30-second, okay, and that's just what we work on in terms of that free speed, that easy motion, and gaining that extra pace or speed by just those movements and balancing out the energy that is required to create that speed, okay, because it's either energy in terms of our pressure or it's energy in terms of like the quicker movement speed, okay, balancing that out with that efficiency. Okay, so we know we're going to have to add a little bit, but at the same time, once we get it there, we get that flywheel spinning and we look to maintain it. Okay. Now, the biggest thing is because we're working on this today and we're going to focus on the technique and stuff, just really hone in on the little things that you've been trying to work on, like specifically, because we do need to keep focusing on those little things to really try and ingrain them, okay, to break those old habits. And the one thing that I watched some videos on Pyrock and I was like, holy fuck. I said, I need to get into that market. And it's a really interesting one because when people use the rowing machine, right, they talk about it in different ways. And it's about the feeling. And I see it because I know it. And, as soon as, and every single person is just basically getting on, like they're getting to the front and the first movement is that, right? And that does create your pressure, right? Your connection, that there, you've got the power on straight away. Okay. But we don't have the ability to create the momentum through that stroke. Okay. And it looks flaccid or it looks stagnant. Okay. There never looks like there's an acceleration. And the way to get this machine going is by having this motion through. Now, I know we're all different in flexibilities, heights, sizes, shapes, whatever. The fact is that the more that we can create a motion with our body and press this body backwards, okay, through that stroke and using that ability to hang and really use those muscles that are hanging to just hold on to what we can create, okay, with our stronger muscles, allows us to really get that motion and that energy transfer right through the stroke. And so when we are at that peak of the energy, okay, we're not searching for the peak of the energy, okay. A lot of people think we've got to really get it to a maximum point, okay. But the peak of that energy happens by the connection between all of those points, right, is when the legs are driving to nearly their maximum, okay, and in terms of being close to the sort of that 90-degree motion, okay, and the body's already in, so the body's starting to swing. So there's that additional, like you add the leg power and you add the body power and you come through and you add the momentum, okay, of our weight distribution, bang, right? And we get that speed through that, okay? So let's really focus on that today in terms of being able to get that motion through, okay? Really allowing ourselves to try and feel that sequencing, okay? One motion. And I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult, okay? And you've got to work on it. But getting that motion through in a smooth force curve, you know. Today could be a workout where we do, you know, we have the force curve on, right? Second button down on the right. Maybe it is a chance to have a look at that motion. Okay, see if we can get a smooth curve. Doesn't matter if it spikes front or back, not worried about that. But the ability to make sure that we don't have like a jagged motion through. Those jagged motions are an extra like movement or something that's not quite jointed together, okay, which really does sort of affect that motion of the stroke. Okay. Perfect. Let's rock and roll. I will leave that there. I'll just net my coffee. We'll get on. Okay. And as always, what are we going to? Five. We'll go 5 in a bit today. Actually, I might just check it. And that's another thing too, right? I might just, for the start of this, just chuck the drag factor on. Actually just see what the physical number is, okay? Because ultimately we use numbers, but temperature, extra dust in the flywheel, you name it, it all is a factor in terms of our resistance, okay? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we'll just warm up here nicely. Looking for this patience, suppleness. Okay. Relaxation. I really think about this motion of our hands as we feel the inertia, right? The change in direction. What's our handle height doing? Are we dropping it? Okay. Or are we trying to be loose, feel the machine? You know, if we try and get the body over too quick sometimes, okay, we force the arms down, right? You see that? Whereas if we're thinking of this motion being carried out, we've probably got a better chance that the hands, they might be making a downward movement, which is fine, okay? But we're really looking for that small change around, that flatness into the front, so that we can keep that chain flat, plane, parallel, right? Whatever we want to use on that drive. And the reason I say that is that, especially on the drive, is that the connection point, right, is right in there. Now, if we try and lift it or anything like that, all we're really doing is using energy here that's not really transferring down into there, okay? So the flatter we can have it, okay, allows us to be in a better position to actually get this motion of the drive and the swing, okay, through there, rather than any up that movement, you know, or if it goes down and then up, we're really just using energy here in our bodies that could be used more efficient to our process, okay? So as we continue this warm up and we become more elastic in the body, really feel this. It was a terminology we used quite a lot. We used to say drop into the front, okay? Whereas here we say one speed into the front, okay? Because obviously we were talking about a moving boat underneath us. But here, this one speed, and it's a body deceleration to that point, okay? Body compresses, we just roll. Okay, and sometimes it's good to just even roll into the front and have a pause, but the pause is done by figuring out where the body actually compresses to, okay? And then from there, we can work on the roll in, and we feel this compress, but then we can target it to the feet, right here, so that as we drop in, we feel the pressure, okay, building onto the feet, and then we can press the body away, okay, press the body away. And this is the discussion we've had in the chat a couple of weeks. You know, there's a couple of people with some dynamics, and it's like using the concept to slides, is that with that motion, you're trying to push the machine away, okay, not push us away. Okay, we're on here, we're pushing us away from the machine, rather than the opposite, which is pushing that motion of the machine away, okay? So just here for another minute, just free it up a little bit, okay? Feel the pressure, the motion, the smoothness of that drive, okay? If you've got that drag factor on, I mean the force curve, smooth, okay? One motion, long arm. Okay, good. Righto, will do. Good. Okay. So, because it's shorter pieces, okay, we can think about the speed that we're producing, okay, in terms of our numbers. So, have a nice press, okay. We know we don't have to last 8 or 10 minutes or whatever. So we can look at our output. We can look at a nice consistent pressure, okay, which is producing good numbers without overworking it, okay, but then finding that flip side of the efficiency, okay, really looking for that patience, that glide into the front. When we're not under pressure with the drive, we're relaxed, right? Loose arms, feeling the draw of this machine, riding into that compression point, okay, feeling that pressure, and then just opening ourselves out, opening out on the way, okay, using that pressure on the feet and the body hang, and as the body starts coming through, we're pushing, we're swinging, okay, and then we let it happen around the finish, okay. Choice. Righto, here we go. Okie dokie. Right. So select workout, new workout, intervals, intervals time, very easy setup. Change that set time to 2 minutes. Change the rest time to 1. Leave it flashing for a second. Okay. All right. Friends with kids that are all sick, and I feel a tickle in my throat. I'm waiting for the cold to come on, but let's hope it stays at bay. Right, let's press that checkbox. If you want to, second button down on the right gives you that force curve. Could be something. Remember, don't religiously look at it. Okay, think about what you're doing. Numbers on screen. Okay, see if you can find a trend. Okay, let's look for a trend. Trend on numbers, trend on force curve if you want to use it. Okay, easy. Now, I'll explain them as they go through, but basically the first one's at 20, 22, and then we get up to around 30, 32, and towards the last couple. Okay, righto, here we go. 1 minute 20, 1 minute 22. Here we go. Are you ready? Row. Okay, so we can just get here. Machine's moving. Okay, we're on rhythm. We're on pace. Nice press. Okay, think of that. Just the press, that resistance with the hand. Nice and smooth. Good. Like really good. Nice control. Up 2. Now, okay. That's a little bit of free speed. Hands moving. Ride that new momentum. Okay. Feel the motion around the finish to start the process. Okay, getting the shoulders in front of the hips, and then finish that setup into the front. Okay, means we're supple, means we're elastic, and we're not rigid. Okay, good. Okay, so what I was saying at the end there, you know, when we historically we've been told to get set here and then hold that motion to the front. Okay, it's too tight, it's too rigid. We want to be in a nice structure and a good posture. Okay, we don't want to just also be like this and getting in. We want to have stability, but the difference between stability and rigid, we just don't want to cross that line. Okay, and that's why we also don't want to be coming in like this, but we also don't need to be coming in like that. Okay, to find that middle ground. Right, 1 minute 22, 1 at 24. Here we go. Now, okay, smoothness. Okay, feel that nice push. Get that flywheel speed there. Okay, good. There it is. Now we just tap it along. Okay. Nice momentum. Hand. As we press, leave the arms out long. Okay, good. Right. Going up 2. Free speed now. And there it is, real easy. Patient. Relax the breathing. Okay, nice press. Both feet. Feel the elasticness of the body as we compress. Okay, nice. Feel the hands, feel the consistency. Okay, good. So as we come up in these ratings, remember, free speed is hand speed around the finish, rolling into the front a bit quicker, okay? And then maintaining our drive, we're just giving it a little bit of more acceleration, okay? There's a difference between thinking about powering it, okay, or trying to move it quicker. Okay, that's acceleration versus power. So really look for that little bit more acceleration. Now this is 1 minute at 22, 30 seconds at 24, 30 seconds at 26. Here we go. Now, 22. Okay. Feel our motion here. Consistency. Feel it really metronomic. Okay, smooth. Feel the pressure through the drive. Trying to create that one motion. Good, okay? Okay, this is good, real good. Right, up 2. Now, yeah, a little bit more speed of the drive. And switch to the front. Feel that body wanting to press away. Okay, nice. Good. Breathe, up 2. Now, a little bit more speed. Okay, there's the acceleration right there. Now maintain with efficiency. Do that touch. Okay, good. Okay. Nice big deep breath. Drink if you need to. Okay. This next one we go back to 1 minute at 24. 1 minute at 26. Okay, so we're starting to get up towards the feeling of that ratio being similar drive, similar recovery. Okay, so remember to relax, feel the inertia. Okay, let's firm it. Building. Now. Okay, breathe into it here. Okay, nice patience. Feel the hang under the armpit. Nice motion. Okay, good hang. That smoothness around the finish. Supple knees. Okay, up 2. Now, the elastic. Good. Okay, now we've got the flywheel at a new speed. Coming in to pick it up. Pick the speed. Tap it along. Okay, relax the face. Relax the breathing. All the tension in the body. Good. Okay, really good. So feel that movement when we get up to that speed. The efficiency of maintaining it, okay, as relaxed as we can be. Keep thinking about how when we're breathing, you should still be able to take a breath in on the stroke, okay? If we're we're probably tensing ourselves a little bit too much, okay? Right, this is 1 minute 24, 30 seconds at 26. Move now, and 30 seconds at 28. 24 here. Okay. Nice press. Okay, nice motion. We release that pressure as we brush the body. And then we have supple knees. And we move the body. And then we roll in to the front with stability, not tension. Okay? Look here. Up 2. Now. Okay, breathe. Tap it along. Okay, no tension in the shoulders. Hang under the armpits. Down in those legs. Hey, 28. Moving. Now. Accelerate. Hand speed. Okay, flywheel. Step it along. Get back through the stroke. Okay, lovely. Okay, really good. Okay, so really nice movements. Good focus on that. As much relaxation as we can be. Okay, the rating's getting up, which means our energy's up. The speed we've got to do. Okay, this is 1 minute. Booming at 26, 1 at 28. Moving now. Okay, elastic start. Feel nice elastic length. And then we can lengthen out once we've got the rhythm of the stroke. Okay, smooth drive. Press the body backwards. Okay, good. Lovely. Breathe. Okay, maintain what we're doing. Up 2. Now, accelerate. Hand speed. Okay, good. Roll into the front. Press. Body puts the brakes on. Good structure. Stable. One drive. One motion. Good. Tap it along. Lovely. Okay. I feel quite energetic today. Okay, good speed. Okay, good focus. Keep focusing on those points. Okay. Rating's only going to increase from here. Okay, so this is the money section of the workout. We've got 1 minute at 26. We've got 1 minute, 30 seconds at 28, 30 seconds at 30. Okay, same focus. Let's keep it on. Firm. Building. Now, 26. Okay, open the mouth. Find the rhythm. Good. We've got the speed here. Efficiency. Relaxation. Okay, rolling in. Hit the flywheel. Okay, nice drive. Acceleration. Okay, up 2. Now, all right. Momentum around the finish. Okay, good. Going through the drive. Up 2. Now, okay, add that speed. Big speed. Good. Collect it. Good drive. 10. Let. 3. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, heart rate's coming up. Take our time here to compose ourselves. Okay, these last 3, we want to firm it and build into the line, okay? So this one's at 1 minute 28, 1 minute 30. Okay, firm, building, go. Okay, start out with elasticity to get the rating. Now look at our length and our relaxation. That's good. Good movement. Stable. Brush the body. Minimize the chain flap. Okay? Okay, good. Here we go. Taking the speed. Prepare, up 2. Now. Let's it. Good, there it is. Breathing. Relax the face. God. Take the speed. Hit the flywheel. Oh. Good motion. Push the body. Step back. Hang. Okay, real good. Okay. Getting up into that really high intensity area. Okay, but really focus. When we start out here, this next one is 1 minute 30, 1 minute at 32. Okay. Be elastic with the length. Okay. Get the rate. Then search for, if we feel like we've got enough length, okay, firm. Moving in. Now, there it is. Okay. Tap. Okay, stay loose. Hand speed. Okay, you've got this flywheel. Pick it up. Roll in. Elastic roll. And press. Through the feet. Pressure as you come in. Drive. Pull the way, okay? No hit. Take up. Swing through. Up 2. Now. Okay, drive speed. There it is. Okay, step it along. Inertia. Watch the body. Single stroke. One drive. Good. Good drive. Open the mouth. Good. Oh, baby. Okay. One more time. Okay. This last one. Building. Every 30 seconds, we look for more speed. Okay. If we can't get more speed, we maintain. Okay. Otherwise, we're just forcing it. But be brave. Okay. Firm here to free the body. Relax the face. Here we go. 30 now. Good. Okay, stay loose here. If we can, from the outset, we're going to hold that tension all the way. Okay. Nice and loose. Up 2. Now. Tap. Good. There it is. Okay, relax. Flywheel. Wow. Breathing. Up 2. Now. Freedom. Electric. Hang. Inertia. Sit back. Up 2. Now. Pass it along. Don't muscle it. Find a rhythm. Hang. Swing. Push. 5 more. Oh, yeah, baby. Okay. Don't stop. Okay. That's great. Just press the menu button when you can. Okay, breathe it out. Okay, that's real good. Okay, we're producing some lactic acid, but not in massive quantities. Okay, we're not dipping into that anaerobic space for ridiculously long periods of time. Okay, but as I say, the physiological aspect is using that depletion of energy, right, or our own fatigue from the previous sets to then look at what we can be sustainable in, okay, or finding that realistic expectation of capability. Okay, I love the 32, 30 to 32. Beautiful. 34, not so much. I haven't done a lot of high stuff. Okay, but really looking here at that progression, okay, through all of those steps and working on that motion, okay, the technical motion, what we were trying to do, puts us in a position to be successful or as close to successful as possible of what we were trying to achieve there, okay? We fell off the wagon, whatever, okay? These are all about practice. Okay? You can always revisit this and be like, fuck, when I got to that 30, I just went to shit, okay? Rushed it, overpowered it, couldn't get the speed, okay? That's okay, right? A lot of different factors. Also, which I forgot to mention at the start, if you're not a high rater, just adjust those ratings a little bit, okay? Still want some progression to feel the motions and work on things, okay? But it's really just about finding ourselves and saying to ourselves, how long can I be sustainable for? You know, do I think I could have done 30 rating for 3 minutes? Or no way, fucking 1 minute, I'm out, okay? And that's the learning, that's the understanding, so that we can find our own equilibriums, okay? Our own ratings where we're sort of comfortable, but we're also finding out our weak points, okay? Things that we need to work on. And if it is things like rating, you know, we probably should do some stuff where we really go above and beyond to try and find that speed, okay? Because I do talk about that equation between power and rating. Okay, low rate, high power. Okay, high rate, lower power. Okay, we just got to figure out where we all belong in terms of our age, body, weight, whatever. Okay, size, you name it. It all has a factor. Fast twitch, slow twitch. And we're just trying to find our own potentials, okay, which is what we always talk about. So, last minute or so here, let's compose ourselves a little bit, okay? Let's find a little bit more posture and stability in the body. And let's just feel the body weight a little bit more here with the hang, just so we create a bit more active recovery, okay? Let's do this for another 30 seconds or so. Lovely, good. Nice. Really good. Nice press with the body. Feel this chain again being drawn back in. The arm, okay? Supple, not stiff, okay? I can get them straight, but still have that element of flexion, of take, okay? Beautiful. Oh, baby. Oh, mate. Coughing like a smoker after that one. Really good, okay? If we if we look at what we were trying to do, okay, and was move through those ratings, try and hold a nice smooth drive through that stroke, okay? Really think about the pressure that we were producing, okay? And the efficiency and the patience we could try and get coming forward. Okay, we mix that all together with the workout itself, okay, the fatigue that we built up on the bodies. So we could get to those last three or four that I said that were the money ones. Okay, and they are really where we have to be up here to manage ourselves, to try and maintain what we've been doing throughout that period, because we can hold things really well, right? And we can, as I always say, we can change things, we can try new things really well. But it's always that old habit shit that we're trying to knock on the head, okay, that we're trying to move away from for longer and longer periods of time, you know. And the more we do that, and the more we train the body into a better and more efficient way of doing what we're trying to do, okay. And that's always the key, because at the end of the day, we we've got we've only got so much energy, and we've only got so much fitness we can produce, and only so much time to train all these other things. So we want to do it to the best that we can, and we want to find out how we can do it so that we're not doing sort of workouts and going, fuck, I'm halfway through this and I'm toast. Okay. If we can really look for that efficiency, and we can really start to understand, and we've also got to be our own critiquers, right? Our own coaches. And when we feel something that feels good, and we see the feedback of it and it's good, identify, right? That identification and saying, oh, that's it. And then trying to be able to, because when we have an understanding of it, it's easier for us to try and like get back to it. Okay. If we have to search for it, it's easier for us to find it back. Okay. Whereas if we don't know it and we don't know what we're doing, which sometimes it feels like that's the case all the time, we're never going to really get as close to it as we can. And that's why that by recording yourselves, by doing it in front of a mirror, by just feeling different pieces of the stroke and how they affect all the numbers on screen, you can really, really get that yourself. Okay. That was rough at the end. Could not keep up. You lost me at 36. Yeah, well, I think I saw 37 in the bus at the end of it, but that was probably because I was really I was using that motion of the body, because that's what happens, right? Like, I used to do so much racing stuff like 30 to 38, just because that's what we did naturally when we were rowing and 10, 15 years younger. Um, but that does, it's that type of thing, that I don't do enough of it here. Okay. I probably should, because at the end of the day, it's the old adage, like, if you can really extend yourself, right, really push yourself to like fucking the point of like, this is such a ball ache and I don't really like it. Everything before that is now not as bad as that. And so if we were to do some stuff where we just absolutely fucking rip the racing and try and get the speed, then 36 will feel easy. Well, not easy, but you know what I mean. It's just understanding, like, if this is what we feel our top level is, that's always going to feel really shit. But if we could do some rating stuff to try and push it a little bit higher, like, let's try for some minute pieces to build it to that 38 to the 40, right? Which it's a good thing that we might actually do at some stage. Then if we were to do that through, if we did 10 or 12 1-minute pieces and we just built, and try to hold for 30 seconds, like 38, 40 rating. And then we did the last three of them at like 34 to 36, you'd be like, this is a fucking piece of cake, you know? And so that's what training does. That's physiological adaptation. Okay. And maybe it is something we need to try. When you say aerobic versus anaerobic, where does the average body switch over? Oh, fuck. It's difficult to say, because there's a difference, because you can build up anaerobic by like pressure, like muscles, right? Just by powering your muscles. Okay. But generally, like, the only real way to find, and because it's aerobic versus anaerobic is different in what you're doing. Okay. Now, if we were to look at, say, on the rowing machine, if we were to do a lactate test, right, is you look at your parameters, okay? And a standard lactate test is that you start off on a certain number of watts, right? So let's say 200 watts, and you do 4 minutes of it, and all you got to do is hold a nice rhythm. So you probably probably wouldn't even be 20 rating, and then you take some blood, and it measures the lactate levels, and then you jump up 30 watts, so you have a 30-second break, then you jump up 30 watts, and so your heart rate goes up as well, so you track the heart rate, and then you take blood again, then you go up another 30 watts. So the more your body is having to produce, right? When you're aerobic, it's using all the oxygen and carbohydrates and fucking whatever else to give you your energy. But then it gets to a point where your heart can't beat fast enough to provide the energy that you're asking for it. Okay. And so then it switches over to start producing lactic acid and hydrogen ions and shit to feed on whatever. I'm not a don't know the full aspect of it. You would have to ask the physiologist on this, but that's where your blood lactate level goes up, because there's obviously more, blood lactate in your blood. And so it's really dependent on different people. And so, as I say, like, if you were just doing power stuff, or, like when you're in the gym, it's lactic acid that's been produced, because it's just like there's no oxygen getting to the muscles, but the muscles have been asked to fucking produce energy. Okay. Whereas on here, we start off with energy because we've got the heart rate, and the heart pumps faster and faster and faster. So there is a correlation. There's a rough correlation between heart rate and lactic acid. Okay. It's not ideal, but it is there somewhere. And so, but once you get over sort of that 80% of your heart rates, when you're getting up to sort of 85-ish, whatever it is. So, let's go round numbers again, max 200, 160s, you're sort of 80%. Once you start getting above that, you start producing more than sort of 2 millimoles of lactic acid. And so once you get over that, then you're in this area of producing more than not. And the real way to know is that, like, when your muscles are fucking tying up and they sting, that's you. And so yeah, it's in a situation like this, we're producing it through, probably, I'd say, up in here. Okay, we're starting to produce a little bit, but because we have that time off, is it enough time to flush a little bit out? Yes, whatever. But definitely once we start getting up into that higher stuff, probably into the 30 here, 30, 32, we're switching between the start of it would be aerobic, but then it would just kick straight into the anaerobic. Okay. And then, yeah. And the thing is, you can live in an anaerobic space for quite a period of time, right? It just depends on how high that anaerobic space is and how, like, to give you an example, I did some testing. We did these 1 minute max out tests, like 7 of them, as fucking hard as you could go. And we had like a 5 minute break in between. And I was producing 20 something millimoles at the end of it. And I felt like I was going to fucking die. I felt like I was going to throw up. Like, it was horrific. Couldn't move my leg. I was like, literally, this is fucking am I doing? And so but the thing is, you can still work in that space. It's just very, very uncomfortable. And that's the whole thing about when we do training like we're doing here, we're doing most of it aerobic, and then we're coming up into the anaerobic. Then we could do workouts where we do all of it aerobic. Then we could do ones where this piece is aerobic, this is quite anaerobic, and then this is anaerobic threshold, which means, like, you would be starting going, I don't know if I can complete this. And that's the difference. That's why a physiological program is the most ideal to really, really find out what you can do. Okay. And there's quite a bit of science and stuff to it, but at the same time, yeah, it's there's parameters, you know, and heart rate's always a good one, because if you're sitting there, bro, like let's just say you're sitting there at 140, you're sweating, you're puffing, but you could probably say a few sentences to someone, or you're not like, the muscles don't feel super burny or anything like that. You're in an aerobic space. Okay. If you can't really talk, uh, you're like, "Fuck, I'm really feeling tight in my muscle," that sort of stuff. You're probably in an anaerobic. So I hope that helped. I hope that helps. Uh, in the beginning of the class, what you said about demonstrated about the upper body position at the front of the drive was very illuminating, makes a difference in efficiency. Oh, yeah, good. Was really thinking of practice on the drive phase during the whole session. Good, Pims. No, that's great. Yeah, and that's, it's it is the problem with the machine, because, like, I'm not going to say there's no right or wrong with it, because you can use it however the fuck you want to, right? But do you want to get the maximum out of it, or do you just want to use it because it's hard? Because no matter how you use it, it's going to be hard. Whether you use it trying to get really good scores, or whether you're just using it to, like, for whatever, it's still going to be hard, right? But it's what the whole thing about it is, that when you're using that, it's just it's a biomechanical side, right? And that's why when you're on the rowing machine, it's psychological, it's physiological, it's biomechanics, right? And if you get all of those three in a real, and, like, it's very hard to get all three of them up here. Okay. If you can get them up here, you're going to do really well. Okay. But we have some people who their psychological is, let's say a high roxer or a CrossFitter, right up there. I want to go hard, right? The psychology's here. Physiology is probably quite good, but they might not be as fit as they could be. They might be, have too much power, whatever, but their biomechanics are fucking terrible. Okay. And then you can have other people whose biomechanics are really good, looks lovely, but their physiology is not great, because they either don't train enough, they're not strong enough, whatever, and their psychology is okay. Okay, but that's the thing, is we want to just try and get all of them up as high as we can, so that it just gives you the best chance of finding your potential. And that's what I always say. Okay, the idea behind the rowing machine is to find your potential, because we all have different potentials. You know, we've got the elite guys who can do sub 540. You know, we've got the average Joe Blog's trying to break 7 minutes. Right, the average elite rower trying to break 6 minutes. So, you know, there's all of these different facets of where you slot into these equations and all that type of thing. But giving yourself the best opportunity, and we all know that goal setting and searching for something or working towards something gives you the best possibility of sticking to it. Okay, of having the endorphins to be like, yep, I'm getting better. You know, I'm doing this. I'm focused on this. You know, getting that serotonin boost, all that sort of thing. And it's really just about mixing that all together and finding what works for you. Okay. So, perfect team. Nice scar, by the way. You saw that on the Instagram, Harry Potter. Here we are. Um, yeah, look, great session. I'm probably going to have to go for a walk because my butt's fucking killing me. But that's what happens when you're really focused on that drive, as you're saying, Pims. But yeah, really, really good. You can adapt this type of thing for any time you want to do something yourself. Okay. What you could do is you could just do 8 of them. You could do that as a 90-second rest. You could probably cut those ones out or something. I don't know. And then you start a little bit higher. You got a bit more rest period. You focus through it. And that's a great thing, right? Depends on what you're looking to achieve. And there's so much that we can do. Okay. But that's it from me. We'll see you guys back here next week. Till then, stay safe. May the fourth be with you guys. I had May the 4th yesterday. Um, Turning 43 tomorrow. I feel really, really old these days, but that's okay. But we'll see you guys back here next week. And yeah, we might be some sort of power thing next week, I think, because we haven't done anything like that for a while. I'll come up with some mad header scheme in the next week, and we'll be good to go. Right, peace out, team. Enjoy. Have a great week.